topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello, welcome to Learning to Dance in the Rain. This is Shelby Wagner, host of the show, and I am my own guest today. We're going to be talking about successful internet dating. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me, and that is that I am an award-winning author. I got to move over. Learning to Dance in the Rain is the name of my award-winning book. We won the silver medal in the Living Now book award contest in relationships and marriage. I guess they thought, she'd been married 50 years. She must know a little bit about marriage. I was surprised about that. It was the silver medal is the second place, and I thought I was very proud of that. It's also won Book of the Year finalist for the Independent Authors Network, and it's won a total of 9 awards so far for literary excellence in grieving and dealing with hardships. And that's what my show, Learning to Dance in the Rain, is learning to how to manage our tough times in life, and maybe not necessarily just tough times, but maybe we have a problem or two that we're trying to decide how to solve. And I'm hoping, my goal anyway, is to help you get through some of those difficult times with resilience and be able to move forward with your life. Today, I am going to be talking about internet dating, and that is one of the chapters in my book, Learning to Dance in the Rain. First of all, I want to tell you that I am not a therapist. I'm an educator, a teacher, elementary actually. I taught in 10 years as a classroom teacher. And then I taught another 10 years as the elementary music teacher. And so the solutions that I offer are things that I learned along the way and things that happened to me. Not something I learned from a textbook necessarily, although I did do some research online about relationships and so on. But I just wanted to make that clear that I am not a licensed therapist, and that these are my experiences. So, how did I happen to become an internet dater at the age of 75 and more? That's my husband passed away suddenly in a medical procedure in 2016. And during my grieving period, I had to not only, I was sad, I cried a lot, and I needed support for that, but I also did a lot of research. Okay, what are my options as a mature woman, single woman, starting out to see where am I going? What am I going to do? And so I decided 2 was more fun than just 1. I would go to restaurants alone and sit there and occupy my mind, especially if it was a favorite restaurant of my husband's, which some of them were. and we used to go there together. And now all of a sudden, I had to go there alone. And they would ask me, "How many in your party?" And I'd say one, and that wasn't a good feeling. And I just thought maybe I needed a friend. I had moved from Tennessee up to Michigan to be close to my daughter. I had no family in Tennessee. We had lived there 17 years, and we had lots of friends. And they all said, anything you need, Shelby, you just contact us and call me, and we'll be there for you. But admit you're at 2 a.m. and you're worried about something and you can't go to sleep, you're not going to call your friends and say, "Hey, can I come over?" or go for a ride or anything like that. So uh, my daughter offered that I could come live with them and for a while until I sold my house, at least in Tennessee, and decided what I wanted to do. So after I went through my chapters in my part two of my book and um, studied what my options were, and uh, I did some self improvement, I think, and lost some weight and worked on my self confidence, because when my husband died, goodness, suddenly I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was going to survive by myself. But here I am, made it. I made it. This is 2024. So that was 7 years ago. And look at me now. I'm here and I'm live and I'm happy. I am happy and happy to talk about dating. Because that's what I decided. Well, where was I going to meet somebody out in the country? My daughter lived out in the country. Uh, the only neighbors were relatives of her husband's, so her in-law family. My family consisted of my daughter and myself. Uh, and I have a brother and a sister, but they're far, far away from here. Um, so anyway, what was I going to do? And finally, I thought, I need a friend. I was going to church, yeah, and I met people there, and there were single people, but um, one of one of the ladies I asked to go out to lunch with me sometime, and she says, "I have a heart condition and I don't want to get too far from home, so I don't do that." And then there were a couple men, but one was way too young for me, I thought, and the other one, neither one of them were interested. And so here I was, and what was I going to do? So I suggested going on internet dating, and I asked my kids, what do you think if I start dating? And both of them thought I wasn't ready. I needed more time. It had been 7 months since my husband died, and I said, "Well, I need a friend. Would like to have someone to go to the movie with, or someone to go to lunch with. You and your family, you all are working, and I'm alone during the day. And yeah, I occupy myself, but I want to do, I want something else." And so I went on the dating site, and today I wanted to talk about internet dating and getting started online. But to get started online, the first thing you have to do is to have a very good self confidence. You have to be able to handle rejection, because you're going to talk to some guys that maybe you like, and they, yeah, you know, and so you're going to be rejected. And I think a lot of people that go on dating think they're going to meet somebody right away. And I thought, how long do I think it'll take me to meet somebody? Well, a month. Well, I had heard of people that met their um, new partner after a month, and were married. And one of them, one couple, they'd been married 10 or 12 years after having met that way. Um, But I'm going to tell you that some people take longer, and that's just the way it is. And I wanted to give you some ideas here about getting started. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set a profile. A profile, it's like an advertisement in the paper or magazine. Here I am, yeah, you got to put yourself out there. You want to look good, right? You put your best foot forward. And so the first thing you're going to do is put up some pictures and some advice on make sure that it's attractive pictures. The first thing is to be a full smiling face. You want to be looking welcome. You don't want who wants to meet somebody that's got a sad face on or whatever. And you need to be authentic, because if you use somebody else's picture and this new relationship leads to meeting in person and you don't look like your sister or that picture that you chose, what do you think that other person's going to feel? One man told me he had met someone else, and he walked into the restaurant, and he saw she was the only one there, and she didn't look like her picture at all. She was very heavy, and he just was not very. She wasn't very recognizable because she had used her sister's picture, and so he turned around and walked out. And how do you think that person felt sitting there? She was waiting to meet this nice guy she'd been talking to on the phone, and he turns around and walks out when he takes a look at her. Well, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, and I hope that you would feel the same. So you want to use an attractive picture of yourself so that when they meet you in wherever you're going to meet, you kind of look like that picture. Another thing you want to do is don't have a picture of you to another person or 3 or 4 people. How is a stranger going to know it's you if there are 4 people in the picture? That's not what you want to do. And animals, unless it's very obvious that that person they've chosen is in that picture, and that they can tell it's you. Nude pictures are no, or suggestive ones. And I want you to remember, and if you're getting a positive mindset, if you're getting your self-confidence up, you are a quality person, and you are looking for a quality person. You don't want to look for some person that is half naked, do you? Or more. Right away, that tells you pretty much what they're looking for. And if that's not what you're looking for, then you need to be careful. You need to answer questions, or what you need to do in your profile is what do you like to do? If you're working, tell them what your work is. If you used to work, tell them tell a little bit about what you have done in your life and what you enjoy doing, and then what you are looking for. Are you looking for a long-term relationship? Are you looking for just a friend, a fun and someone to meet and go out to lunch with or dinner or whatever, concerts or whatever? Let the person know, so that if that's what they're looking for also, then that's a good kind of a good match. If if they want a long-term relationship, committed and so on, and the person you're talking to doesn't, what's the sense in wasting all that time talking to them? So once you get talking to somebody and you think that you might like to meet them, and usually you'll know this within 2 weeks, it is suggested that you meet the person at least, pretty close to 2 weeks, because if it's going to take longer than that, probably it's not going to be worth your wait. It's probably, well, could be several different types, and I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. But if you do have you're talking to somebody and you both want to meet, schedule a meeting in a safe place. I always use like meeting I met at Burger King one time. We met at Bob Evans several times, or Applebee's that's around me. And these are you want to meet during the daylight, so we schedule it early, maybe lunchtime, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, and you drive yourself to that meeting place and meet them inside the restaurant. And you think, oh, how will I ever know which one he is? Well, you'll know if you've used the right, your picture. Usually the man is pretty good at recognizing me, better than I am at recognizing them. I have to admit that. So also get your date's full name and where he lives, his telephone number. If you can get his license number in the car, write it down before you leave home in a obvious place, so that if you should disappear, and that is a possibility, if you should disappear, your family can know at least something about this person that you have met. And you want to be safe while you are going, so you do not get in that person's car. You do not let them in your car either. You drive, if you guys decide to go somewhere else, you drive your car, he drives his car, and that's the way it's going to have to be. Always drive yourself. Always be safe. Always think about your safety, because you don't know what that person is going to do. You don't know if he's the nice person that you are talking to. I mean, really, it takes it takes months, 6 months, it could be 6 years before you really know that person. One of the people I met along after I wrote my book, she had talked to this guy 4 years on internet before she met him. And then they started dating and they got married. And it wasn't long after they were married, she discovered some red flags, and her money was her savings account was being withdrawn, unauthorized by her. And so she started investigating. This man was a pedophile. She found things on his computer that, wow, she had no idea that this stuff was going on. And so it takes a while. It takes time to learn the other person. So be sure you know that person before you make a commitment. So if you're in a conversation and you ask questions and the other person does not answer your questions, there's a reason they're avoiding that question. And you're not really having a conversation. A conversation involves two people, and it's going to be questions. One of them's going to ask questions, and the other one's going to pick up an answer on it and go on from there. That person's going to have questions, and it's just like this interview. Today, I'm doing this alone about myself, but usually I have a guest, and that's a conversation between two people. This one is a monologue, I think, but you're on the other side listening to me, and so I'm giving you the information as I know it. But if you get a strange message and you don't really get it, maybe that is a red flag for you to block that person. No answering your questions, and spelling. Look at the messages and the words. Are they words misspelled a lot? Is the grammar really bad? Well, these could be indications red flags that you need to block them. Anyway, um, if the person that you kind of like isn't interested in you, well, tough. That's fine. Who cares? It's just one person. They are having a bad day. Don't worry about it. There are 4 types of men I learned on a dating site. And so I have the chart in my book. So if you have my book, you don't have to write it down. But here, these are for ladies. And maybe some of them are good for the men too to listen to because, types of personalities happen in both gender. So here we've got 5 types. The first type is a sex shopper, and their goal, they can have 3 goals, and each of those 3 goals is sex. And I ran into this a lot. And that's why I suggest, so once they start getting suggestive or outright blatant, then it's time to block them, because that's what they're there for. And you're not going to convince them to do anything else or become anything else. Just leave them alone, block them. The second one is a commitment addict. It means they are to be avoided because they're often emotional and physical abusers and emotional abusers, and they are extremely jealous. And this is not the type of person that you need to be around. They're in it for their ego, because it makes it feel good to be talking to a woman or whatever. So, but you need to be careful with that, because they don't want to commit to a relationship and so on. They're just around for control, sex, too, gratification, ego. Narcissistic people fall in this category. The third one is scammers. And I'll tell you, I met a lot of scammers, a lot more than sex shoppers too. I don't know if it was because I was foolish in the beginning on my profile. It said somewhere, well, it wasn't on my profile, but within the website itself, it mentioned if the man wants to go to another platform and not chat on the dating site platform, that's a good sign that they're a scammer. So don't go. Well, I thought I was going to write a book about my experience on dating, and so I didn't follow that advice. And the first fella that I started talking to wanted to go to a different platform right away so we could get to know each other better and faster. And oh boy, I really found out right away that he was a scammer. The fourth type of guys are nice guys, really good guys. A majority of men on the web fit into this category. The shy guys are often great guys, but they lack self-confidence. They have incredible approach anxiety and are scared of women in one way or another. They are often frustrated and even a little angry, and they use online dating because it allows them to talk to women without being afraid of talking to them in person. And they have, back to the 3 goals. In this case, these guys, goal number 1, it says, is sex. Goal number 2 is a girlfriend. And goal number 3 is companionship. The fourth type, actually it's the 5th type, Yeah, the fifth type is the alpha male. And he has plenty of confidence, takes up space in the room. You know he's there when he's there. Has an effect on women and usually dates multiple women at once because he can. He's charming. He's had lots of practice. He has a good job, owns a business, or feels powerful in everyday life. And he's extremely attractive and frustrating to women. In short, he's a player. And oh my, yeah, they're fun, but watch out. Their goal number one is sex. Their ego gratification is second. And the third, they're very vague about the future. So they're very lacking in commitment. So you need to know, women need to know exactly, what it is that you want in a future partner. And men should too. And you need to write it down so that you don't forget. Because once you meet somebody, you're going to have to check off the list and say, well, does he do this? Does he do that? Yes. No, but he's not very good at this. So that's one way to help you know what kind of person you are talking to. I want both men and women to, if you are a quality person, and I'm going to say you are, or you wouldn't be here, then you want a quality person. You're not going to settle for anything. So part 2 of my book helps you to gain your self-confidence back, helps you in areas that you may need to improve. And this is that's where you just think about what it is you want for the future. What are the characteristics of the man that you want to be in a relationship with? But I'm going to warn you about a couple things, if I can remember them in my head here. One of them is that no man and no woman, neither one of us is perfect. And we wrote down the things that we liked for our man to be. But there are some of those things that are really important to us, and that's what we're going to look for. And we're going to hopefully check it off if that guy that we're dating meets that particular point. But you're also going to find that, and this is, I have found anyway, that the man that I'm falling for at this time is a very kind and very loving man, treats me very well, but some of my points are not there. And I am trying to decide, okay, which of these are most important to me? And honesty is he honest? That is a very important thing for me. Is he a valuable person? Are our differences things that we can talk about and accept each other? That's fine. But that's one thing I want you to know, is that maybe it's going to take a while to meet the man that fits our dream. But we've set our values, we've set our boundaries back in part 2 of my book. And so now, this is what I think I want. And then be sure that the things that are most important on that list are the ones that describe the person that you think you are falling in love with. Also, I've met people, I think I said earlier, where they met their dream person and the first person they talked to. Well, I met other ones that I asked them how long they'd been on the dating site, and I was told 6 years, 10 years. Wow. And I thought, what's wrong with this guy? But then I found out through my life that yes, I was on the dating site the first time for a couple of years, and I met some very nice guys and dated them, several that got a second date out of me. And then I met someone I really thought was going to work, and it did for a couple of years. But he was not well, and so that ended after 2 years. So I found myself back on the dating site. I was different the second time. I was now 4 years older than I was when I was the first time. And this time it took a little bit longer to get to know people. And the person that well, I don't know if I'm going to get into that at this point, but the point is, have fun with dating. Have fun with this internet dating. Some of the people would say, well, I'm not a game player. But, dating is a game, and internet dating is a game of numbers sometimes. For some people, anyway, it was for me. But you can't get discouraged just because somebody doesn't respond to you. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Something is not connecting at that time. Maybe, who knows? But something's going on in his life, and it's just not the right time for him. Or maybe he falls into one of these categories, scammer. Like he might fall into the type that is emotionally unavailable, not mature enough. So you got to really be careful. Follow your heart. But the next chapter in my book is follow your heart, but lead with your head. So sometimes your heart can get you in trouble. So I tried to give you a few of the red flags right away when you are texting someone, and watch the spelling if they are misspelling the words a lot, or if they are using words incorrectly. Most of the scammers were coming from foreign countries, and so foreigners tend to have problem with our pronouns, for example. And I found out a lot of them on my text messages would say, "Are you like this?" Using the word are you like this? And that's not what they meant, some of them, at all. That meant the word, do you like this? And I thought that was an interesting mistake. But watch out for that when you're texting with them, and see if that's something that is a red flag. And we're going to talk about the red flags sometime in the episode with a pastor. I guess it's the first Tuesday in May when Pastor Carl will be back with me, and we're going to be talking about these red flags to look for. Um, I have them in here. Red flags tell you it is a scammer, and so it'll be very interesting to see what he has to say about it. But getting back to follow your heart, but lead with your head. That I think remembering that love takes time. You may get a message right away. Oh, gee, I just love. I'm so in love with you already. You're just the person that I always wanted, needed. Blah blah blah. Use your head. Is it possible to fall in love immediately? I mean, when you haven't met yet, you haven't met a person. How do you know that person on the other side of the screen is telling you the truth? And so you really have to be aware of that. And you have to think about it. Some of the red flags I have in my book, I'll just go through a few of them, but one of them is recognize urgency. If they're too soon falling in love, if they need money right now, don't talk to anybody. Those are red flags. You don't want to go there. Don't give out your personal information. This morning, I went on my phone. There was a message from my bank. It said, and right away this form popped up for me to put in the old password and then create a new one. And I started to do that, and then I got to thinking, how do I know this is really from my bank? So I went to my computer, my desktop, and typed in farmerstatebank.com, and then to see what would come up. And it didn't. So there was a text message sent to me wanting me to change my password to my bank. That's a scam. So be careful. Ask if you're thinking that you're falling in love with somebody, why not talk to a friend or somebody that you trust? Because scammers count on you being too emotional to think. So get a second opinion. Tell them about this guy and see what they think. Maybe they can help you to get your emotions straight. Be wary of clicking links in emails or text messages. That was one I just got through talking about. One of the problems some people have, and I had that communication online. And some of you, do you know what your how to text on your cell phone? Maybe you don't. But text messaging is an act of composing and sending electronic messages between two or more users on mobile devices, desktop, laptops, and other compatible computers. Text messages may be sent over a cellular network or via an internet service, SMS. But it has grown to include digital images, videos, and sound content, as well as ideograms, known as emojis or small images. Text messages are quick and easy way to communicate with friends when two people are not required to be present at the same time. It was first used in 1992, and I have to say I didn't really get around to using it very much until 2016. 2015, 2016 in it. But that's what I did. For those who don't know, emails are text messages that are sent to internet service provider service when you press the send button. There it sits for a little while until it could be up to an hour or so, and it's waiting for the mail server to process the outgoing email. The document is then transmitted as a single file, including attachments, to another server, which then notifies the recipient that they have a message there. The message then resides on the income server until it is downloaded by the recipient. Instant text messages is a series of data packets sent as the send key is activated and then routed by whichever way that's available to another computer. However, many ISP text servers are operated in a high processing fashion so that the text message may sit on the outgoing server for a second or two. And then there's online chat, which is a conversation between two or more people at a computer keyboard, and it is sent without delay to each computer that is logged into. And I wondered which way was the fastest, and I learned that email is fast. Text messaging is faster than that, but online chat is the fastest. And you know, with this podcast, we do have online chat. If someone out there who's listening and they want to ask a question or whatever, all they have to do is dial this number. Rebel, do we have that number handy? I've forgotten to even bring that up, but we'll show it in a few minutes. And today it's a little late, I think, to be doing that, but I forgot where I put it. I'm sorry, I'll get that out to you. But anyway, it's very nice to have people call in and ask questions that we can answer. So please feel free to do that. So coming up next week, well, not sure what is coming up next week since this is pre-recorded. But on this, probably, well, some of the subjects that we're going to be talking about are the red flags to recognizing a scammer. I also want to be talking about a new movement called Operation Shamrock, in which many leaders worldwide are grouping together to make scams more well known. The only way that scams are going to go away is by education. And if everybody knows what we're talking about, recognizes the red flags that we are giving out to them, and stop giving their money, stop falling for them. And it's not just romance scams. A big one right now has to do with investment scams, with cyber currency. So if it's urgent, do it now. If you have to pay by Bitcoin or cyber currency, if they don't want you to tell you something, those are red flags. Don't do it. I thank you for being here today, and I'll see you next time, I hope. And skip on over to Amazon and buy one of my books, or both of them. They are available on Amazon. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye-bye.